Let's talk a little bit about weight training and strength training, because we're still seeing the same, not just the same language around it, but the same misconception and that same almost comfort blanket of thinking that going back to normal strength training is going to cure everything. And it doesn't. We know that categorically everyone's doing it. They're not getting the results because bowling and weight training are two different ends of a spectrum. And this is really key to understand that one rarely influences the other. So gun to head, if I was given two players and one of them had to do skipping all winter and one of them could do just strength training all winter, I would back the one who does skipping all winter to have better results with their bowling in the next season. Okay. A bit of an extreme case, but it just highlights the point. And here's what we're looking at, weight training and co-contraction. So co-contraction work is what happens when bowling. When you land on that back foot, that lower limb that we talk about, maybe you hear the words ankle stiffness. It's not ankle stiffness. It's all the muscles and the fascial system at once going from slack to on. Okay, so we want to be sort of bouncing, 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 and bang, like a pogo stick, solid, and then able to move forward. Now, you do not get this with weight training because it's about training something called the muscle slack. Have slack, 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 and then on. Now, when we're doing weight training, traditional weight training, we don't have any opportunity to create that muscle slack. We're working basically in a concentric method. So we're not working isometric either. And that muscle slack just doesn't have the option to get there. Now, again, with working co-contraction work, we want to be working mainly the tendon. Now, the tendon is the place where, when we get it right, everything happens. Okay, so the tendon is the thing that gets lengthened, not the muscle. Why we see so many soft tissue injuries are people are just working the muscle and not the tendon most of the time, or not paying enough attention to the tendon. Because what we see here is then people just chuck in a couple of jumps after doing some squats, thinking that they're doing the work, where we need to understand when we're doing any plyometric like connection or contraction, what is going on. We're aiming for 0.25 second contact time. Are we doing that? Are we too long on the floor? What is the purpose of the jump you're doing? What are we trying to elicit? All these things come into the equation. Then how many contacts are we going to have during a session? Have we got 50 contacts, 100 contacts, 150? How many during the week? In every plyometric contact, which is any jump, so we're looking at any delivery as well, needs to be taken into account. Okay, so this is why this spectrum, the co-contraction work and the jumping work and the reactive core work is just so important. And it's so important for the sequencing as well. Weight training just doesn't get it. Now, like I said, weight training will form part of what we do, because once everything's working well, if we just increase the size of the system and the strength of the system, if we've already got the balance and stability, brilliant. But too many people use this as a crutch, which it isn't. It really isn't. It takes you off on the wrong way. Now, the trouble is, this is easy. It's easy to fall back into the ways of weight training. It's easy just to say, all right, if I'm just going to get stronger because everyone keeps saying I'm going to get stronger. And like I said, it's easy to overload the weight every week, put another 5K on the bar, whatever you're doing on the dumbbell, and say, I'm getting stronger. Brilliant. Is it going to help? That's the key thing. Is it going to help? And what you have to do is just quieten the noise around you. Quieten the noise, because, I guarantee whoever's listening to this, you'll have 2 or 3 people at your club, coaches, physios, S&Cs, and strength is the first thing they go to, because for them it's easy as well. Then they can justify, well, this player went from a 60K back squat to a 100K back squat, so I'm doing my job. Not if their ground contact time is slower, not if now they cannot have that co-contraction at the lower limb, if they haven't got that ability to get off the back foot and transition to front foot. These are the key metrics. These are the absolute key metrics of bowling. And so this is why this end of the spectrum comes first. comes first. Do not then go back to this one. But then when we look at this one, we can't fry this system. It's a delicate system. So if we're doing bowling conditioning twice a week, and that's all we think you're doing bowling wise, but then you're going off and having 2 nets on its own, then we're going to fry the system. Then that co-contraction, that back foot contact work isn't going to be anywhere near as effective. You know, we plan everything. We plan how many plyometric contacts you're going to have per session per week. So every time you do something more, decide you're going to go for a 10K run, you know, this is messing with the system. You know, there's a big science to this. We've learned this, you know, 24 years to get to this understanding of what goes on. So please, please, please stick to what we give you. And if you're not sure, ask. I'd rather you ask than suddenly we find out you've gone and done 2 extra strength sessions a week because you didn't feel you were strong enough, or someone saying not strong enough. Once the body's working as it should, you will be very strong. Okay, because the way the fascial system works, the way sequencing works, it gives the body that strength. You know, and just looking to wildlife, you know, they say a gorilla could deadlift 400 kgs, but I've never seen them in the gym. Never. No, because their body works. It's adaptable. They're not put in shoes with massive heels and sat at a desk all day. So this is why we need to be really clear about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And this is what we are. You know, I'm very, very clear about the path we go because I've seen it work, and this works and works and works. And we're just talking about the human body. There's very, 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 very rare occurrence where this will not work due to a massive issue. Okay, but most people, if you're doing the work we program, if you're doing the soft tissue at night, if you're getting good sleep, if you're taking care of your wellness all around, then you are going to make progress quick. If you're not, if you're doing half sessions, if you're adding strength sessions, if you're bowling too much on its own, if you're not prepping when it's bowling, if you're not doing any medicine ball work, if you're not doing the co-contraction work, if you're not listening to the webinars, you know, or if you're asking questions, you will not get anywhere near the results you could get. Okay, so use us. You know, we've got the knowledge, we've done this, we've put the money and time and effort into learning, still doing courses all the time on this to bring you the most up-to-date resources, okay, to help your game. So there we go. Any questions? Shout.